today. Today we start with lesson 17. And lesson 17, we are still busy with 2.3. And we will today look at the functions of financial institutions. In our country, our financial institution consists of commercial banks, the central bank, and the stock exchange. So if we look at this, before we continue with the functions of the commercial bank, we just want to recap a little bit and see if you still remember what an exchange rate is about. Please remember that an exchange rate, you must understand what it means if it appreciates and depreciates. You can see here I asked the definition of exchange rate. With example, I gave you a calculation that you had to do to see if you can do it on your own, and then tell me how political unrest can affect the exchange rate. So what will happen? Like I have said, you will then as a firm decide, what must I do if I see that a country can't control their workers or can't control their political parties and their members. Okay, now the functions of commercial banks. Give me examples of commercial banks in Namibia. We have at least 8 different commercial banks. You can look on the internet, it varies from year to year. Some of them are only electronic banks. They are not the usual bank that we know, like Bank Windhoek or First National Bank or Standard Bank or Nedbank. That is the ones we know, but there are lots of other banks like Trustco Bank, for example. And then you get e-banks. Okay, so the first function of a commercial bank is to receive deposits. Now they can receive only your savings, that if you save, say for a trip overseas, that you put money in the saving account every month and you earn an interest on that money that you save at the bank. So sometimes you said, okay, but I don't just want to save it in a normal saving account. I want to save it in a fixed deposit. That means you get 3 months fixed deposit, 6 months, and 12 months fixed deposit. If you save your money in a fixed deposit, you earn much more interest than in a normal saving account. But then it means you can't, if it is a year fixed deposit, you can't withdraw the money from the bank before a year is passed, or a year passed. Okay, so we have examples of types of fixed deposits, and that you must remember, if you save money in a normal saving or in a fixed deposit, you will receive interest from the bank. Then the bank have another function that they advise clients on investments. So they have people that they employ that can advise their clients what to do with their money, where to invest it, and so forth. Then they also act as executors of wills. They draw up the will, and after a person dies, they will also complete this task and make sure that everyone gets what they, according to the will. Then the second point or function of commercial banks is offering loans. Now, our commercial banks offer the normal long-term loans. They offer overdrafts that you can get on your normal current account. It's also a short-term loan. And then they offer house loans, house mortgages, and they offer car hire purchases. that is different types of loans that they offer. Okay, remember in brackets, if you take up a loan, doesn't matter which one, you will pay interest to the bank for using their money. So it is very important that you know that. If you have lots of assets to offer to the bank and lots of security to offer, or lots of security to offer to the bank, like other buildings or assets that you have, then you can get normally these loans at a lower interest rate. The last function is that it makes payments. The function, so how can you make payments if you have an account at a commercial bank? And if you are a client of a commercial bank? I'm a client, for example, of Bankfin. So if I can make payments in different ways. I can go and draw money from an ATM and use the cash and make a payment. I can make electronic payments on my laptop or on my cell phone. I can use my debit card or my credit card to pay for products here in the country or overseas. I can also make use of standing orders and debit orders. Now, a debit order is that you enter standing order, you go to the bank and you draw up an arrangement that the bank will make the payment on your behalf. And for the case of a standing order, it will be exactly the same payment. And for a debit order, it can be like your telephone account. It varies monthly. Okay, then that is the functions of the commercial bank, what they offer us as clients. Then we have the functions of a central bank. Now, each country have only one central bank. Our central bank is the Bank of Namibia. Okay, the Bank of Namibia have certain functions as a central bank. It is seen as the government's bank. What that means is the government must have an account at the central bank, where all their money that they receive will go into this account, and all the payments that must be done on behalf of the government will be done out of this account. A central bank is also a banker's bank. A banker's bank is that it is a bank that all commercial banks must have accounts at the central bank. And this accounts mean that a certain amount of all commercial banks' deposits must be kept in this account. And this is how the government controls the amount of money in supply. Okay, or one of the ways. Then it is a lender on last resort. Now, I experienced that students don't really understand this concept. It is the lender on last resort. It means if a commercial bank have cash shortages, they have lots of assets, they are not bankrupt or anything, but they have a cash shortage, then the central bank can be the lender on last resort to solve their cash problem, that they have enough cash in circulation. It is not to give loans that you can continue to run as a commercial bank, specifically for that. It is also the sole note issuer. Now, very important that you understand this, that they don't produce the notes and coins themselves. They organize it who will produce it. They get tenders in. They work with these people, companies for years. And then the company that gets the tender will continue to produce the coins and notes. And if the central bank receives them as coins and notes, they will issue it to the commercial banks who need it. Nobody else can do that. Okay. Then they make sure that the banking system operates according to the government laws and policies. So if the government law is that anyone that wants to take up a loan must offer, put down for a house, must put down at least 25% of the value of that house as a deposit, then all banks must apply to it. So you must also, if the policies say that every commercial bank must keep 5% minimum deposits at the central bank, then all commercial banks must do it. They have also rules and regulations when it comes to foreign exchange, which you can offer to your clients as a commercial bank. And then the central bank also manage the debt of the country. It don't mean that they are responsible for, in a way that they are the one that get the blame if it isn't paid. I would rather say that it comes out of the government's account and they make the payment on behalf of the government. You hear the words? On behalf of the government. It still stays the government's responsibility. But they manage the national debt, see that it is paid on time and that there is enough money to pay the debts. Okay, and then the last function of the central bank is about the foreign currency. Each central bank keeps foreign currency in the as stock in the bank that they can offer to any commercial bank whenever they need it. So sometimes they have an oversupply of it and then they sell it on the money market. Sometimes they have an undersupply and then they must demand it on the money market to keep their stock of foreign currency, that it is enough.
How would you describe the Chris Wayne style as a producer?
I would explain it like this, right? Mm-hmm. If you hear my music, that's the only time you're gonna really understand. Mm-hmm. I cannot express it in words. Stand tall like a mic stand. Hit the back through you, pay your bills, no stress. You the best, only I can.
How do you come up with these rhymes? Like, what do you do? How do you stay updated with vocab, you know? Yeah. Are you just an A student of?
No. I never even finished school. Let's not even go there.
Yeah, man.
Let's not even go there. So it's just based on a true story.
Where you at though? Got the check though. Now my boozers, they be looking for my info. Got a black coat. You want flight mode? We gon' paint the CD red with a black stroke. Where you at? Tell me where you at though? Where you? Tell me where you at though? Where you at?
I have group work here for you. This is a very nice activity. You get all 5 different notes, 200, 100, 50, 20, and 10. You divide your class in 5 groups. You send them outside that they sit in the sun because that they can look at these notes. And then you give each group just 5 minutes to look at one specific note, and you circulate the notes then after 5 minutes between the different groups, until all 5 groups had all 5 notes. Now what they must do during that 5 minutes that they have that note, they must look for as many characteristics of that note as they can see. So they must, for example, look for this the watermark in it, or they must look for the braille that is indicated on the note. And then they must write down this list of characteristics. At the end, you can compare the answers and look at which group have the most characteristics for each note and what they are, and just share it with the rest of the group. Okay, for the last part, we have the Namibian Stock Exchange, or a stock exchange in general, but we will look at our stock exchange, the NXE, Namibian Stock Exchange, and at its functions. The Namibian Stock Exchange, or any stock exchange, borrow on long term to the government through issuing treasury bills and government bonds. And they also, it is not a loan for public companies, because if I buy a share of a public company, they never need to pay me back for that share. I can't go to them and give them their share back and say, I want my money. So that is not actually, but it provides them with capital that they can expand. Okay, then you will also see that it is another way of saving and investing for people that have money that they want to save. Now they don't have only one option, and that is the commercial banks. They also have other options, saving it by buying shares. Another function is that it gives you value to your saving or to this asset of yours, financial asset. Because every day you can go to the newspaper or on the internet and you can say what your shares is worth. So if I look, say for example, at my Bank Windhoek shares on the internet, I can see they was the shares was worth $12.50. It's now $13.32. So I can daily tell you what the value is of my shares. And then the stock exchange also provides a safeguard for investors. That means if the companies that are listed on the stock exchange is public limited companies, and public limited companies must go through lots of rules and regulations where it comes to, before they can register as public limited company, they must issue financial statements in newspapers or to the public. Their financial statements must be audited. So there are lots of regulations for public limited company, and that causes that investing by buying in shares from a public limited company is a more secure way of saving money. Then price movements of shares indicate what happened in the public limited company, and it is also an indication what happened in the industry and in the economy of a country. So if you look at a public limited company, for example, a fishing company, you will see that these companies' values will at the moment withdraw because there are lots of economic issues around these companies. So in a case like that, the whole fishing industry is affected by it, and all fishing public limited companies, their share values will decrease. The last point of the functions of the stock exchange is that it is of crucial importance, a stock exchange, to help a government to finance their national debts. Because if they have a shortage of money, they can always sell treasure bills and securities on a stock exchange. Okay, the next part is for you important. Why share prices change? Now, firstly, we have, say, if a company's profits increase, then more people want their shares because they will earn more dividends. If there's changes in interest rates and the interest rates drop, I will say, let me rather buy shares. And then you demand shares, and you know a share, the price of a share is also influenced by demand and supply. So then I demand shares and the share prices will change. Then if there's interference in the supply of a good or a service, say for example you can't get the product anymore, or there's one or other health reason for producing this or using this product, then the demand for that product will drop, and so the demand for that company's shares, because you know then that it will affect their profits. Now, rumors of what's happening in that company. Did you hear this company like Namibia Breweries is expanding? They are buying up all the milk farms, say for example that. If you hear a rumor like that, you will know that they will expand, and you will know that it can bring even higher profits for them. So in a case like this, I will say, oh, I have Namibia Breweries shares, I will buy more that I can share in this higher profits. Okay, and then lastly, government policies like changes in taxes on dividends may influence you to buy a share or not. It's very important that you know, you will see there's a note on the PowerPoint, that you know that the share of the profit I get is called dividends. And the amount of dividends depend on the value and the amount of shares that I have. So that is important. And then you will see that I have gave you research work. You can use your textbook and the internet to answer the difference between a bull market and a bear market on a stock exchange. You can look at the difference of what a preference share and an ordinary share is. And then lastly, what is speculation? Speculation you can speculate not only by buying shares and at a low price and wait until the price is much higher and then sell it. And the main purpose why you do this is to maximize profits. But speculation can also happen in a farming situation. You can buy cattle at a low price and sell it at a much higher price. You get speculation not only when it comes to buying and selling of shares. Then these research questions continue. You can use your textbook to discover what a nominal price is of a share. This is normally the price at which it was issued. What is the market price? What is dividends and what is yields? You can get all of that, then discuss it. The questions that is given in this slide and in the previous slide can be used also in tests and exams.
I'm ballin' on grace, yeah. Ballin' on grace, yeah. Ballin' on grace, yeah. And his blessings never make sense. Look at how he lives here. That's what they've been saying since. Don't know what to tell him, man. There's only one name, man. So all I say is amen. I'm ballin'. They wanna know the rest of it. I couldn't make a way for me. I felt up being a mastermind. Couldn't make the best 10. Everything I tried then never got a placement. All I ever needed then was given me. And you can bet I never wanna lose again. I'm treated like a king. I get everything, no panicking. For that job I'm getting, been standing firm like a mannequin. Whoa. They doubted me 1,000 times till I got an increase. Better understand how I'll make it please. Grace King, frankly speaking, but to be frank, I'd have to change my name. This is how I'm holding up. There ain't nothing dope as that my whole life gonna pop. Yeah, homie, that's the part. I'm going to the hillside to tell them how I made it here. I'm holding on grace, yeah. This is how I'm holding up. There ain't nothing dope as that my whole life gonna pop. Yeah, homie, that's the part. I'm going to the hillside to tell them how I made it here. I'm holding on grace, yeah. In the midst of darkness, I still get the good things. It's working for my good, yeah. I see another good year. Make it to the future. I'm gonna make the most of it. I hope the feeling mutual. Ballin', I never need to worry then. Always had the upper hand. They never gonna understand the food inside the plastic bag. Money in my bank account, filling up my mama's. Well, get my wife a mean shoe, pay up all the groceries, exactly what that grace do. Whoa, I don't got the time to doubt, cause I know I'm covered up. My life has gotten better since the last time you called me up. Ain't no need to be discouraged, it always seems impossible, but look at how I manage. Well, I'm healthy and I stay fit. I got all the basics, I can try to explain this. This is how I'm holding up. There ain't nothing dope as that my whole life gonna pop. Yeah, homie, that's the part. I'm going to the hillside to tell them how I made it here. I'm holding on grace, yeah. This is how I'm holding up. There ain't nothing dope as that my whole life gonna pop. Yeah, homie, that's the part.